I just finished reviewing over 100 law firm landing pages, and 76 of them actually link to their homepage from their Google business profile. That's a really big mistake. You see, homepages convert anywhere between 0 and 2%. That means that 98-99% of your prospects are getting lost. Whereas a landing page created by a conversion expert, that converts between 20 and 50%. So you could see a 50x increase in your inbound inquiries just by fixing your landing page. And this is what separates the divorce lawyers that are always in demand from those that are struggling to win clients. It's not that they've got superior skills or more experience or get better results. It's just that their lead process is 50 times better. Now, the good news is that fixing it isn't that complicated. You just need to have the right structure. Now, over the last 30 years, I've built hundreds of landing pages, and I've learned the hard way what works and frankly, what doesn't. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 7-step convert framework. So by the end of this video, I guarantee you will know exactly how to optimize your landing page so that you can convert more clicks into clients. For argument's sake, let's assume your divorce cases bring in about 8K on average and your consultations close in at 30%. Now, if your web page is converting at 2%, you'll make this. But if you optimize your landing page and your conversions go up to 30%, you'll make this. That's an extra $134,000 and change from the exact same traffic, without running ads and without wasting hours or days on social media. And by the end of this video, I guarantee you'll know exactly how to apply the convert framework to your own business. So you can win more clients, you can take your business to that next level. Oh, quick heads up. If you're watching this and you're thinking, I wonder how my web page would score. Well, then you might like to know that I actually do a handful of short web page audit videos each week. If you'd like me to add yours to the list, then just contact me on LinkedIn. And I'll send you a short video with my findings. Now, back to the video. Now, before we dive in, let's get crystal clear on what a landing page is actually for, because there's 3 very different types of web pages. First, you've got your branding pages. These are like your Harvey Specter and his sharp suits and the signed basketballs and skyline view. They convey authority and professionalism, like your homepage does. But looking good alone won't get you hired. So next up are your SEO pages. These get you noticed. Think of them like your evidence file. Carefully crafted blogs, case studies, or guides, proving your expertise and help people find you. Without them, it's like walking into court with no evidence and expecting the judge to take your word for it. And finally, you have your landing pages. These are the equivalent of your closing arguments. The jury's watching every movement you make and hanging on every word. This is where your prospect decides if they're going to start their journey with you and book that consultation call or walk away, probably forever. And each of these requires a different skill set. Branding is visual, so you're going to need a graphic designer. SEO is largely research driven, so you're going to need an SEO expert. And landing pages, well, they're results driven, so you're going to need a conversion specialist. And that's why the conversions from these 3 different types of web pages are so dramatically different. Branding pages, well, they're going to convert at like 0 to 2%. SEO pages from like 2 to 5%. But a good landing page, that can convert from 20% to 50%. But one of the biggest mistakes I see lawyers make, more than most actually, is they hand over their landing page to their graphic designer and assume that's going to generate results. But it just doesn't work like that. So if sexy design doesn't drive conversions, what does? Well, it starts with the client mindset. You've got to step inside their head and show them you understand exactly what it is they are going through right now. Miss that, and no amount of clever design, headlines, or testimonials can fix your page. Take Norris. He jumps into Google and does a search for divorce lawyer in Brentwood, UK. This is the first one he tries, but this one looks pretty dull. Okay, jump on to the next one. Okay, this one looks super corporate. Not for Norris. Next. Okay, with this one, at least you can see who he would presumably be working with, so that's something, but there's really nothing captivating here. Next. Okay, well look, the colours look vibrant. Says they are a specialist, but don't really know what they're a specialist in because it says they are for life, business, and everything in between. So sounds like they are not a specialist in anything, actually. Next. Okay, this one looks like I'd be working with the Bank of England. Hell no. And that's the uncomfortable reality. Your prospects are making snap decisions in microseconds. So if your page isn't a perfect fit, well, they're just going to jump over to your competitor that's only ever one click away. So how do you achieve this nearly impossible task? Well, you've got to demonstrate you know their situation so well that they think, wow, these people really get me. They understand what I'm going through. I want to find out more about them. I want them helping me through this situation. And that's how you create a landing page that converts at 30% or even higher. And that brings us to the next step in the convert framework. Outstanding headline. Because the headline is the first thing that Norris is going to see. It's your one shot to demonstrate you really get him, or you're going to lose him forever. Now, take a look at these real examples. Recognized super lawyer. NYC divorce lawyer Lisa Beth Older. Divorce and family lawyer who solve problems, not create them. If Norris reads those, well, he's going to bounce. Can you see why? Can you see what all these headlines have in common? These are all we headlines. They're talking about their business. What your customer wants to read and what Norris needs to read is headlines that talk about him. Because I promise you, Norris doesn't give a flying F about you. He needs a solution to his problem, to his situation. Now, there's lots of different headline formulas out there, and that's way beyond the capacity of this video. But there is one I want to go through and show you. It's the how, goal, pain framework. So instead of experienced Manhattan divorce lawyer, try how you can get the best outcome for you and your kids without the high cost or stress of normal divorce. Now, I hope you can see that a me headline like this is way more powerful than any we headline can be. And that's why some web pages struggle to get 2%, whilst others are getting 20 or 30% conversions. But even small changes can make a big difference. So what do you think about this headline? How dads can avoid wasting time, money and stress on expensive lawyers and coaches using the STAR roadmap method. Now, to be honest, I was pretty pleased with it. I thought this was a perfectly good headline, but how you can get the best outcome for you and your kids without the high cost or stress of normal divorce, well, that performed 300% better. But here's the catch. You're not going to nail this headline unless you have a very well crafted customer avatar. Without that, frankly, you're guessing blind. Now, the good news is I've actually already created this video and it shows you exactly how to do this. And it includes a secret kind of ChatGPT code that can give you incredibly powerful customer avatar in about 3 minutes. And I'll put a link in the description so you can check that out later. So we've gone pretty deep on these first two, the client mindset and having an outstanding headline, because those are the foundation pieces, but the foundation alone isn't enough. Now it's time to put on the walls, the windows, the roof. Miss even one of these next 5 bits and well, your house is going to be incomplete and no one's going to pay you a visit. And everybody misses the last one for some reason. So make sure you don't miss a step. Get these right and you'll have one of the best converting landing pages in your industry. And that brings us to number 3. N is for narrative image. Take a look at these 2 web pages. Which one would Norris click on? So always view this through the eyes of your client. Now, to my mind, there's 3 types of narrative image you can consider. Number 3 is an image about you, the business owner. Number 2 is an image that illustrates where they are right now. And number 1 is an image that represents where it is they want to get to. And you've probably spotted that number 3 is a we image. It's all about the business. And that's why it's in third place. But it can still work if you have high brand perception. Now, sometimes somebody is down in the dirt so deep they can't even see a light at the end of the tunnel, and they can't even believe that one even exists. In that situation, the second headline can work. But as a general rule, and this is where you should start, I'd start by testing number 1, because ultimately this is where they want to get to, and this is what ultimately they're paying you to achieve. And that brings us to V for visual design. And people always get this wrong about design. They seem to think it's all about the aesthetics, the style, how pretty something looks, but that is not it at all. I think Steve Jobs said it pretty well when he said, design is not just what it looks like and feels like, design is how it works. And I would say it's actually even more than that. Design is about what outcome it elicits, what outcome it achieves. So if someone sees an advert and they feel compelled to rush out and buy that thing, well, we can say that is a very effective piece of design. If they think, well, that looks pretty, that's nice, but actually do nothing about it, well, we can say that's an ineffective piece of design. Design is way more functional than people actually think. So how do you know if your design actually works? Well, you test it. So you've got to test everything. You've got to test the headlines, images, the layouts, test everything you can. But as a rule of thumb, the clearer and simpler your message, the higher your conversions will climb. And that's why minimal design has dominated for years, because simplicity sells. Ironically, minimal design isn't necessarily easy to create. As Mark Twain said, I don't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one instead. And that's because the more minimal your design, the more every element of your web page matters. The colors, the headlines, the words, the icons, the fonts, everything. But in general, it's worth it because clarity helps conversions. So use simple, clear statements. Avoid those ugly, wide single columns. They're way too hard to read on a web page. White space improves legibility. Design for usability. People often view a web page in a F pattern. Put your primary call to action above the fold. More on that in a little bit. Now, if you're doing a long form page, consider this tried and tested content structure. Start with your hook headline, then your problem, then exaggerate that problem. Show them elements of that problem they didn't even know existed. Then offer the solution. Provide proof that your solution actually works. Then have your call to action, testimonials, bonuses, and finally repeat your call to action. Which brings me neatly to effective call to action. So imagine you're in a hurry, you're in a rush to reach your destination. You pull up to a set of traffic lights and the red light, amber light and green light, they're all on at exactly the same time. Total and utter confusion. But that's exactly what it's like for most visitors visiting lawyer web pages. Too many choices. You should have one primary call to action. One, not 20. So what goes on that call to action button? Well, 2 to 4 words work best. Action orientated, first person phrasing helps. Add urgency when you can. Use words like free or other high value terms. Here's 3 examples. Get my free quote, 3 case evaluation, speak with a lawyer today. This should be positioned above the fold, so it's on display as soon as somebody clicks on your website. Now, in most cases, my personal preference is to use a sticky button. This displays on screen at all times, even as you scroll up and down. That way, the action you want them to take is always available to them. Quick question for you about color. Do you think the color of that button matters? No? Matters a bit? Or it matters a lot? What do you think? Well, Google famously tested 50 different shades of blue, and the winning color, well, that added $200 million to their ad revenue. So yeah, color can make a big difference. So here's a few tips. Use a high contrast color that stands out from the rest of your design. Orange has been proven to be highly effective. Green is often associated with yes or with achieving something, and blue has been proven and chosen by some of the biggest IT giants, including Google and Facebook. There's so much more depth that we could go into, but if I did, I think it'd just be overwhelming. So remember the basics. One clear call to action. Short, sharp messaging. High contrast color that's above the fold. Now it's time to make sure that your landing page works perfectly for everybody that visits. Because R is for responsive design. Imagine for a second that you're a restaurant owner and you discover that 30% of your guests actually like or prefer vegan food. Would you redesign your entire menu to only serve vegan food? No, of course not. That'd be madness. But that's exactly what most lawyers are doing with their websites. Most websites are designed for desktop and laptop users, but 70% of your visitors are coming from mobile. So you need a mobile first solution, a responsive website. It's probably more important than you think, because the data is really clear on this. If your page doesn't load within 2 seconds, you're going to lose 9% of your visitors. If it doesn't load within 5 seconds, 38% are going to leave. That's frightening, and they're gone forever. So here's a few quick pointers. Use optimized images for mobile. If you are using a navigation bar, and you shouldn't be, but if you are, use one that's specifically designed for mobile. And last but not least, use a fast hosting provider. I'm a big fan of WPX hosting, which brings me to my final and most important point. If you ignore every other step, and you really shouldn't, don't ignore this next step, because our last step is T for tone consistency. So if you've ever been to a nightclub and you're bopping away to a great tune and suddenly the DJ drops in the next track and it's a totally different vibe, totally different energy. People are leaving in droves, people are literally running off the dance floor. And any good DJ knows that the trick is to merge these tracks in smoothly and perfectly together so they can't even be spotted. Well, it's exactly the same for your marketing funnel. When someone clicks on your ad or they watch your video or they read your post, they need that connecting landing page to be a seamless continuation of the same conversation. Same vibe, same messaging, same energy. And by the way, we've just mixed in 2 different tracks in the background whilst you were watching this to show you just how seamless it needs to be. So make sure everything is seamless. Headlines, fonts, language, colors, logos, icons, every bit needs perfect tone consistency. And I promise you, based on experience, the audience is brutal about this. Your ability to win their case depends on it. Get this right, and suddenly everything starts to click. Your ads perform better, your landing page converts higher, your brand feels effortless and professional, and most importantly, clients want to work with you. And that brings me to an important truth, because what's become obvious after researching and analyzing hundreds of lawyer landing pages is, and I'm kind of sorry to say this, but they need a lot of work. They really do. But the good news is, if you implement the 7-step convert method that we've covered today, you'll already be miles ahead of the competition. So don't miss a single step. C for client mindset. O is for outstanding headline. N for narrative image. V for visual design. E for effective call to action. R is for responsive web design. And T is for tone consistency. And the biggest takeaway, this is not about creating pretty pages that look professional. It's about removing friction for your prospect, so they move from interest to inquiry. Because they never make that leap, well, you never get the chance to win them as a client. Now, bonus time. If we're already connected on LinkedIn and you'd like me to do a quick breakdown of your own webpage with a clear, practical review of what's working and what's perhaps holding you back, then just send me a DM saying, I'd like a free web audit, please. Now, if we're not yet connected and you'd like to, or you just want to grab your free web audit, I'll put my LinkedIn link in the video description below. I set aside some time to do a handful of these each week. And once I receive your message, I'll personally take a look and send you a short video with my findings. Either way, thanks for watching today. And remember, traffic is only valuable when you learn how to turn that interest into real inquiries.